for pre-need, funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. When you think of pre-need, we want you to think of Curtis & Son Funeral Home and Doris Thrash. Go ahead and plan that funeral service. Don't wait until death occurs. Make sure you've got everything in order prior to your death so that your family won't have all that on them, or maybe a family member that you want to make sure that they're taken care of at their time of need. You can do all of that by contacting Doris Thrash today at Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the Pre-Need Program Director, 256-245-4361. And I tell you, I've said this numerous times before, I've seen families that maybe even suddenly losing a loved one, or it could have been a long-term illness, but at the death, they're still just almost lost. And you can understand that, losing a family member. And then you've got to decide everything you got to do for that loved one, from the funeral service, from the clothing, from the flowers, and everything else. I mean, it's just a really, really big struggle at the time of death. But if you do pre-need, you got everything done, and you can grieve appropriately, and you'll be more clear-headed, and just from me to you, talk to Doris Thrash, the pre-need director at Curtis & Son Funeral Home, and let her help you with your pre-need for that loved one or for yourself. 256-245-4361. That's Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Lily Ruth Matson, age 86, died Wednesday at her residence. Funeral service will be held Saturday at 2 p.m. from Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel. Burial in the Odina Baptist Church Cemetery. Visitation 1 hour prior to the service. I'll be officiating that service for Mrs. Matson. Online condolences at curtissonsonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. In other obituary news this morning, Mrs. Connie Clifton, age 62, died January 4th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Funeral arrangements to be announced by Radley Smith Funeral Home. Cameron Audrey Bearden died in Sylacauga at the age of 24. Funeral service will be held today at 7 p.m. from Calvary Baptist Church of Childersburg. Family viewing beginning at 4:30 and friends at 5 o'clock until 7, which is service time. Pastor Paul Hickman and Pastor Ronnie Forbes from Calvary Baptist will officiate the service. In lieu of flowers, a special Cameron Bearden Foundation Fund has been set up at Southern States Bank in Sylacauga to help with the many unexpected expenses. Online condolences at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga, directing. Funeral service for Sarah Benny Lee Embry, age 92, will be Saturday at noon from Pine Grove Baptist Church, with Pastor Joseph S. Rouser Jr. officiating. Interment in the Pine Grove Church Cemetery. Mrs. Embry died December 31st at Gadsden Health and Rehab Center. The body will lie in state at the church 2 hours prior to the service. Anniston Funeral Service directing. Homegoing celebration for Amitris Dwayne Marbury, age 12, will be Saturday at Word Alive International Church, with interment in the Antioch Church Cemetery. The body will lie in state at the church 1 hour prior to the service. Online condolences at terrysmortuary.com. Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary directing. Funeral service for Ms. Mary L. McKinney Arnold, age 74, will be Saturday at Mount Olive Baptist Church in Goodwater at 11 o'clock. The Reverend Jimmy Garrett will officiate. Visitation today 1 until 8 at the funeral home. Ms. Arnold died on January 1st at her residence. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Sharon Lynn True, age 50, of Talladega, died January 3rd at UAB Medical West. A memorial service will be at 11 o'clock on Tuesday, January 9th at Harvest Field Church, with Pastor Wayne Hester officiating. Entombment in the Pine Hill Memorial Park in Talladega. The family will receive friends on Tuesday from 10 until 11 o'clock at the church. Online condolences at ursrefuneralhome.com, Ursre Funeral Home directing. A memorial service for Samuel Uncle Sam Henderson, age 82, will be announced by the family at a later date. Mr. Henderson died January 4th in Birmingham. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at raddysmith.com, Raddy Smith Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Joseph McElrath will be 11 o'clock Saturday at Darien Missionary Baptist Church, with burial following in the Peace and Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church Cemetery, Wright's Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Robert Williams Adams, age 95, of Equality, is Saturday at 2 from the chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Reverend Leroy Shaw will officiate. Burial in the Equality Methodist Church Cemetery. Mr. Adams died Tuesday, January 2nd at Wetumpka Health and Rehab. He attended Equality United Methodist Church. He was retired from the United States Army as a senior chief petty officer. In his years of service included deployment during World War II. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at raddyfuneralhome.com, Raddy Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. or Mrs. Alma Colvin Harrell, age 85, of Alexander City, is Saturday at 1 from Great Bethel Baptist Church, with burial in the church cemetery. Visitation today from 12 until 7, the family at 6 until 8 at Armour's Funeral Home. Armour's Memorial Funeral Home, Alexander City, directing. Funeral service for Joe Bryce Hill, age 74, of Sylacauga, is today at 2 from the chapel of Raddy Smith Funeral Home, with Reverend Charles Atkins and Reverend James Beam officiating. Burial in the Sycamore Cemetery. Mr. Hill died January 2nd at Brookwood Medical Center in Birmingham. Memorial messages can be sent to the family at raddysmith.com, Raddy Smith Funeral Home directing. Bobby Freeman, who was born in Talladega, died on December 30th in Sarasota, Florida. Visitation will be today at 11:30 from Ursre Funeral Home in Talladega. Graveside service will follow in the Oak Hill Cemetery at 1 p.m. Ursre Funeral Home, Talladega directing. Memorial service for David Garrett Hall, age 62, of Alexander City, is today at 1 from the chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Reverend Don Cross officiating. The family receiving friends today 11 until 1 at the funeral home. Mr. Hall died December 29th at his residence. Memorials can be made to the David Hall International Golf Scholarship. Attention Coach Jennings at CACC Golf, 1675 Cherokee Road, Alexander City, Alabama, 35010. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at raddyfuneralhome.com, Raddy Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Willie Frank Strong will be 2 o'clock today at Great Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, with burial following at the Marietta Baptist Church Cemetery in Goodwater. Wright's Funeral Home directing. A memorial service will be held Saturday at 11 a.m. at J. Craig Smith Community Center in Sylacauga for Grace Hughes Andrews, age 85. Ms. Andrews died Tuesday, December 19th. Collier Butler Funeral Home and Cremation in charge of the arrangements. Online condolences at collierbutler.com. These obituaries brought to you this morning by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361 for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.